Hello, Marvel Cinematic Universe fans out there. Troy the Max Extreme here.
And Ghost Hunter Dave.
And together,
Continue.
Forgot to say, we're Imperious Rex.
That's right. And today we're talking about a little movie that hit theaters last week.
Yeah.
Avengers Endgame.
Yes.
Kind of a big deal. I lied about the little movie. It's in fact the biggest movie of all time.
It's the biggest dick of a movie
Yes.
there is.
Yep. So we're going to be talking about that.
Yeah.
We'll try to keep it brief, but it's just going to be like drinking out of a fire hose type of situation where we haven't even talked about it yet prior to this, so it's just going to be a lot of gushing.
Gush.
And a little bit of cleanup.
Yep. So enjoy.
So Troy, you're hot off seeing the Avengers, right?
Like always.
Yep. So much to unpack.
Yeah.
Where to even begin?
Well, full spoilers.
Yes. Yeah, good call. Good call.
Full spoilers out there. I know everybody in the world saw it because it made already $1.2 million on its opening weekend.
Yep.
Which is stupid.
Yes.
It's stupid. But
Mm-hmm.
I would say warranted.
Absolutely.
Because I had a great time during this movie.
Me
As
too.
a surprise to no one,
You're right.
probably.
Right. So this is 11 years in the making.
Yeah.
Probably the most hyped franchise or single movie of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Could it possibly live up to the tremendous expectations that have been set for this?
Mm-hmm.
I would say a resounding yes.
Yes.
Yes, it did.
Yes. There was a ton of things going for this movie. First of all, Infinity War was great.
Mm-hmm.
And it left with a bitchin' cliffhanger.
Yes.
To get butts in seats a year later to
That's
make
right.
this happen.
Yep. Yeah, I can't think of another movie that I've been so excited to see
Mm-hmm.
while knowing nothing of what to expect going in.
You saw it actually before me and texted me, the trailers show you nothing.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. You
I
had
wanted
me intrigued.
wanted to be as cryptic as possible because I didn't want to be like, you just wait for that scene, you know. So
Yeah.
I was driving to this Friday morning because I'm not seeing this Thursday night, absolutely not. But I remember waking up Friday morning and looking at the clock like it was Christmas morning, and I was like, 6 o'clock, almost time, just a couple more sleeps, and I'm ready for Avengers. I dropped my kid off at school. I'm like, have a good day, bye, and off I
Took
go.
an old kid.
Yep, get to the theater, and I'm like, man, I'm just ready.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And man, oh man, did it not disappoint.
I had luckily pre-ordered my tickets. And I got there for a date night Saturday night.
Yep.
Sit down. Trailer's starting. My mom calls me. My daughter's puking. Come pick her up. And I seriously contemplated saying no.
If there was ever a movie to pull that no card, like, Mom, this is 11 years! Avengers is older than my daughter!
Yeah. So deal with it! Anyway, I went and picked her up. I'm not that bad. But I went back Sunday.
Good father.
First showing at the theater, people were being turned away in droves. I actually thought there was a previous showing that I didn't know about. No, they were turning people away at the door because the first, second, and third were all sold out.
Yeah.
The hype on this was insane. People like that I never thought would ever be interested in this are making it to this movie and seeing it multiple times.
Yeah.
It's insanity.
Yeah, I've never had a Marvel movie that I felt the need to see more than once until this. I did see Infinity War twice, but this one warranted it more, I felt like.
That being said, I think comparing it to Infinity War, because it is like a good part 1 and 2, they could be not further from... They're so different.
I felt like it was a very Kill Bill 1 and 2 type of movie, where the first half is like really inventive, non-stop action.
Yes.
And then the second one is like a very melodramatic character study.
Yeah, exactly. And like having it even be like 3 hours long, when it started, well, it starts off pretty hot.
Yeah.
And then it...
About as hot as it gets up until the finale, I would say.
And then it definitely slows down for like the rest of the first act. And I really appreciated all of these slow moments that it lets you build up to the end of this. It made the payoff so much better.
Yeah, the deliberately paced character scenes were fantastic.
Yeah.
And I never felt bored.
No,
like
not
they've put
ever.
so much time into this franchise. It's like, yes, they have earned the right to let this thing play out any way they want.
Yes. Also, that being said, I thought it was a little more adult or mature of a movie than I think the rest of the... Well, maybe not with the Russo brothers movies so much.
No. It was right in line with the Captain movies and the previous Infinity War.
Yeah.
But I would say, like, it's not even something a kid would be all that into, really, other than, like, they like seeing the characters, but they're not even in costume for a lot of it, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it took its time and dealt with a lot of mature themes. I especially liked how each of the characters kind of dealt with that loss in their own way.
Yeah.
Like Black Widow kind of buried herself in her work and became essentially like the head of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
Captain America, like, is looking to support people.
Yep.
And he forms, like, a support group for communities. Iron Man does, like, a 180 and goes out to the woods and, like, starts a new life with his family. And then Thor is, like, in a deep depression and he's binge drinking. Banner reinvents himself and moves on. And Hawkeye becomes a loose rage cannon and cuts a swath through the criminal underworld.
For sure.
Like, it was really interesting, all the dynamics there that played out.
Yeah, I loved it. Thick Thor and Professor Hulk.
Yeah.
Because they were, I think, like, the biggest kind of departures of what expectations were.
Yes, and I am so happy they didn't spoil any of these in the advertising.
No, I can't even imagine how. Like, I know some of the Professor Hulk stuff, I think, leaked through toys or whatever.
Did it? After the Super Bowl spot, I backed off. And I had no interest in seeing any advertisements for this. And, like, the little bit that I peripherally caught, I was impressed, like, they're not showing anything.
No.
And I think by the end of it, they only showed, like, snippets from the first 20 minutes or so. Like, you had no idea where this was going.
And even then, the first 20 minutes were so shocking. It's like, we didn't even see all of that!
Yeah. Props to the marketing department on this for keeping this close to the vest. That never happens.
No.
I can't think of a superhero movie where I didn't kind of know every step of the way all the beats that it was going to hit from the previews.
Right.
In this, I had no idea. So, everyone's reeling from the snap.
Yep.
Tony is left in space to be rescued by Captain Marvel. And they all get back to Earth and decide to track down Thanos and get him to reverse the snap.
Right.
So they do that very quickly. They get to the world where Farmer Thanos is just tending to crops.
The garden.
Yes. Picking his pointy vegetables. How are you going to eat that?
Making him to some weird soup.
And they meet him and find out it's irreversible and he destroyed the gauntlet and they're all fucked. So Thor just beheads him and walks off. And I love that scene as he just walks out the door and it, like, fades to this blurred look. And then we get 5 years later.
I was actually... That was like a 1-2 shock for me. Just for the fact that, like... So they took the original plan from Infinity War, where there's like, now we'll just go in, we'll just cut his arm off. That's what everyone says. After, why did they just cut his arm off? They go in, hack his arm off.
Right off the bat.
And then they get pissed off, and it's like, nah, I destroyed the stones. And I'm like, holy shit, these are supposed to be the good guys?
Yeah, and Thor's only response is, I went for the head. Went for the head this time.
And then it's like, boom, 5 years later. And then they just sat in the shit for 5 years. I'm like, no way.
Well, Banner had a good time, it seemed like. He was handling it really well.
Tony Stark went off okay, Banner.
Yeah.
He's on top of the world. He's dabbing with the best
Oh my god, yes. So, everyone's in the muck.
Yes.
And then enter Scott Lang.
Yes. The rat that saved the world.
Brought back to life by Ratatouille. They should just mix that into Disney canon because they have Ratatouille now. They can do that. Remy the rat saved the Marvel Universe. So he comes back, cooks up a plan with the rest of the big brains that they can go into the quantum realm where time acts differently and reverse things so that they can get to the stones before Thanos does.
Yes.
And thus kicking off the second chunk of this movie, which is the time heist.
Yes.
Which really fun, old-fashioned caper.
Which is insane. So, like, I was just talking to my podcast buddy, JT, that, like, they started with Iron Man, which the most ridiculous thing in it is a man has a robot suit. And in this, they full-on just bring in time travel.
Yep.
No problem.
Not only that, Tony Stark comes up with the solution for time travel in like 30 seconds.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, and people just take it's like, yeah, that's fine.
We made it this far.
It's like, there's a raccoon literally...
We gotta keep this thing moving.
There's a raccoon that can just, like, talk to you.
Yeah, we've only got 3 hours here, and we gotta keep going, guys.
Yeah.
And on that note, I could have easily done 3 more hours.
Oh, my.
I did not ever feel the runtime of this.
Nope.
And when it was gearing up to the end, I was just absolutely crushed that we were getting to the finale of this.
Yeah.
I just wanted it to keep going.
Yeah. And, so when the time heist actually starts, I thought this was, like, I would say, like, one of my favorite parts of the films. Because, like, all of your kind of teams break off and go to different points in time.
Yeah.
Which was really fun to do, like, a Back to the Future 2, like meet yourself, all that kind of stuff.
It was like a clip show of everything that built to where they're at now.
Which I think was, like, an ingenious idea. To also to be like, hey, we're plucking at your nostalgia a little bit with all these other movies and also making it a good layer on top of it.
Yeah.
It's just frosting on the cake.
Yep. And a sequence that you could have easily maybe cut down or taken out completely and just made like a quick solution to getting the stones. But that was like the lightheartedness that I think was necessary in a movie this dark.
Yes.
It had so many cameos. Virtually anyone of of magnitude that has appeared in a Marvel movie showed back up in this.
Right.
Had so many great lines and callbacks, like the Hail Hydra from Captain America in the elevator was brilliant.
And like subverting expectations like that too. Because like some things...
another elevator fight with these guys.
Yeah. And it's like, and I love that it also harkens back to Nick Spencer's run as well.
That's immediately what I thought. I'm
like,
it's a little nod to Hydra Cap from
like,
Secret Invasion.
These guys must
Secret Empire.
love comics.
Yeah.
And it shows.
Yep.
They embrace everything.
Yeah, and then it even goes to a Captain America versus Captain America fight,
yes.
which is kind of like right out of that. The whole I could do this all day great line, to the point where like modern Cap is just like, doesn't really sound like this asshole. Was I that plucky?
Great ass, though.
Yeah, America's ass. Yep. And the Hulk smash, Nerd Hulk having to smash, where he's just
like,
loved it. The humor in this was so on point. Like, the Russo brothers balance the humor better than I think any of the other directors do. Where, I'm not the biggest Joss Whedon fan, because I feel like all his characters sound the same, and they're just quipping like crazy. In this, the humor was very natural to the situation, but it never felt like anyone was just a joke machine. And they could have, like, a funny line and then immediately get back into the tension. Yeah. It didn't, like, let's all build this up for a gag. It never felt like that.
There is only one character that I thought that kind of was pushing it a little too far in the camp, and that was Thor. Yeah. A little bit. But even then, like, he would always make up for it with actually having heartfelt moments right after.
And crippling depression.
Yeah, and I was like, damn.
Yeah. And I love that they didn't backtrack on Thick Thor.
No,
he goes the whole movie.
They went all in on Thick Thor.
He's gonna talk to his mom and then get like the lightning power and he's gonna be ripped again.
Yep.
But no, he was just like a badass, bearded,
looked like fucking Volstagg out there.
I loved it. I love that they embraced it. I would love that that's how Thor is from now on.
I don't know.
Big Lebowski Thor.
Yeah, dude Thor.
Yeah.
And I also, so like, I'm gonna put it out there, I'm not a huge fan of Professor Hulk as a concept. I think it's having the best of both worlds, brain and brawn, like, kind of, like, isn't as dramatic as having, like, a loose wild card Hulk.
No, it loses the whole Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde aspect.
That being said, though, I did like it in this, but I was waiting for another, like, Hulk out moment in this. And
which we don't ever get.
And we never got it.
I wonder if we're getting more of him. I feel like they can't keep Professor Hulk going that long. Right. Before something happens. And he reverts to, like, Primal Hulk. Yes. Gray Hulk, maybe,
Oh, just cool. Get a Joe Fix-It?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Bring in Wolverine and have him be Patch.
Oh, my God. That would be great.
So after the time heist, they've gotten all the stones back together. They argue about who's going to do the snap to revert it. And I love that Thor needs to do it. Yeah. He feels like, I have to make up for this. And you feel so bad for him. Like, he's just been drowning himself in like just self-loathing for the last 5 years.
And booze.
Yes. And a lot of food too. But eventually they decide Banner needs to do it because he's the only one who can kind of withstand the radiation of the gauntlet. And he does it, and everyone's back. Or so we think.
Yeah, everyone's back. You have like this calming moment where Scott Lang is like watching birds outside.
Yep. He's like, we did it. And then, boom, Thanos shows up.
Fuck you!
And just makes the Iron Man 3 house attack look like nothing. Look like a Home Alone burglary. That was the part where I felt like if this was any other movie, they would have thrown that in the preview. Not the first preview, but like the second preview. To like, hey, you knew they were going to fix it. I mean, come on. Now look what they're up against. And they eventually, by the third preview, you know the whole movie. But this, it's like, what a great moment. They get this little breath of reprieve, and then they're just blasted to smithereens. And you get that great Hulk callback of him holding up like the entire building, which is
Secret Wars mountain.
I think that was exactly what that was kind of going back to.
That was really good. The whole thing, just like a false sense of security in there. I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. Even though like in the background, they've already like switched out nebulas and stuff, so I knew something was coming. Thanos and the Thanos squad. But I didn't know it was just going to be
coming
like...
in his Thanos copter.
Well, he kind of had that double-bladed weapon and he spun it around. But yeah, I didn't know it was going to be like, beep, boop, boop. Okay, Thanos is here and you're fucked. Right away.
Yeah, you don't even get a chance to sink in the fact that they did correct it. Because all you get is that call from Hawkeye's wife, where you're like, I think everyone's back? And then, that's it.
I think. Before we, like, jump right into, like, the money shot of the movie, there was a ton of, like, really slow family moments that I loved in this movie. When they needed to go back and get more Pym particles, and Tony Stark and Captain America jump back farther
to the 70s.
To the 70s, where you get a Stan Lee cameo.
Great hippie cameo, Stan Lee. Once further cementing, Stan Lee was a progressive dude. He was not one of these right wing. He was anti-establishment.
It was good. They actually go back to the camp where Steve Rogers was trained in the first Avenger, which was pretty fun, and they meet like. Underground S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, they meet Howard Stark, where Tony Stark bumps into Howard Stark.
And we also get Cap getting another glimpse at Peggy Carter. From the shadows there. So he's still pining for her. We also, prior to that, we get Tony Stark leading a semi-normal life with Pepper Potts, and he has a daughter. And he is the most reluctant of every Avenger because he doesn't want to lose what he established here after the snap. And you completely side with him. Like, why would you? He's living the best life he could imagine right now. He still gets to tinker in his garage, but like he has a family and he's just kind of cut off from the rest of the world. Not
only do they get like good moments of like reflection and reprieve, but then you jump into like Thor and Rocket's little outing when they go back to the dark world
to get B-roll of Natalie Portman and extract the ether from her previously filmed scene.
But like he has a moment with his mom that was very well done, because I don't think he actually gets a goodbye from her in the dark world.
Who would have thought that Thor the Dark World would play such a pivotal role in the future of the Marvel universe?
I know, but
I feel like time has softened on that, and that was once like the outcast of the universe. I think people are going to come around and bring that one back in.
I hope so, because that movie takes a bit of a kicking.
And I remember leaving the theater and being like, that was good. I liked it more than the first Thor, I remember. But having said that, I love the direction they take the Thor character, where he's very non-Thor. Because I don't think Thor is that interesting of a character, but I like the more comical slant on him.
I do too, actually. They went from like, they tried to skew towards like Game of Thrones. And then was like, nobody liked it as much. And then they totally doubled down into the comedy, and everyone's like, more of this.
This is what we want.
But anyway, that was a really great moment. And actually, Rene Russo has more lines in this movie than she does in the previous two Thor movies combined.
No way. They let that scene simmer there. I told my wife, like, if you have to go to the bathroom, go now. Because I feel like this one took a while. But it was good.
Yep.
And you leave with a great moment where it's like all of a sudden he puts out his hand and everyone in the audience is like, oh yeah!
yeah.
He can get the hammer back!
Yep.
And what a great workaround to him not having the hammer for like the last 4 movies.
And then it also like that would harken back also to like the Avengers where he just like tests to see if he's still worthy and he can pick it up.
Yeah.
So it's like a double thing. It's like the audience gets like, fuck yeah, Mjolnir's back, and he's just like, oh thank God Mjolnir's back. I'm still good at this.
Which brings us back to the future. We've done our own time traveling here.
Right.
We've come full circle to probably the greatest moment of any Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. The Trinity shows down with Thanos.
Yes.
Cap, Thor, Iron Man. They all attack. Hell of a fight.
Yep.
At dusk. At daybreak.
That's right.
My only complaint, it's a little muddy. The colors are a little Snyder-esque.
Little
if
drab.
you're going to complain about that. But they're all there. They're having a huge throwdown. It looks like Thor is done for.
Yep.
And then, what happens?
You just hear that fucking hammer come and smash the back of Thanos' head, snaps back, and it's in Captain America's hand.
So
At
good.
this point, I was so happy that I was crying. I'm not even lying. I was like, had the biggest smile on my face, and I could feel tears in my eyes.
I know. I saw it by myself the first time, and like the audience clapped, and I was just sitting there like, God damn, they did it!
It's so good.
So good. As soon as you see it start to lift up, I was like, oh, they're gonna do that. They're going there.
Yeah.
And then he gets it and he just swings it like a champ.
Yeah.
He's swirling it around. He's calling down lightning.
Yeah.
Still gets his ass kicked. But man, he really lets it loose there.
Yes, he
and
does.
that is so good. What a payoff from that little tiny hint in Age of Ultron.
Yeah. Another great callback to a movie that now everyone kind of dumps on.
Yeah. I rewatched that not too long ago. I think it's fine.
I think it's fine too. I don't like how jokey Ultron is, and I'll never get over that. But otherwise, I think it's fine.
Yeah, yep.
And then, so yeah, he's still taking a bit of a licking in this. And now Iron Man and Thor are kind of like indisposed somewhere else.
They're grabbing drinks.
Yeah, they got kicked to the curb or whatever.
Cap buckles up his
now
butchered
broken
shield.
Which they hid in the trailer, which was really good.
Yep.
And then you just hear, on your left, looks over, ton of portals open, and literally everyone.
Yes.
Everyone is coming back.
Yep.
And this is another point where I'm just like, I do the Batman from Justice League, where I'm just so happy.
A quivering smile. Yes.
Or I'm just like, oh my God. And then he just utters the magical lines, Avengers Assemble, and then it's fucking on, like Donkey Kong.
And then I'm sure someone in the theater died. Like, well, what more does this life hold for me?
So good.
Amazing. And I loved the on your left callback there. Like, at first it's static that he's hearing in his earpiece, and he's like, what? What? And then the audience suddenly realizes, like, oh shit, there's all these other heroes back now.
Yep.
And then boom, callback to Winter Soldier.
Yep.
Cap's first meeting with Falcon.
Yep.
And in they come. The cavalry
For
arrives.
sure. And it's literally everyone.
All your favorites. Wong and the rest.
I couldn't, my biggest thing I wanted to see in these movies is just, like, the full roster of everyone in a huge line, and it just pans down everyone, and everyone's getting their moment where they're, like, ready to just sock it to Thanos or whatever.
Yep.
And I couldn't even imagine, like, this, like, went above and beyond my expectations.
Yes. So everyone arrives. It's a pretty tight battle.
Yep.
Until I love that Scarlet Witch is just handing Thanos' ass there too.
Yeah.
Like, she really stepped up her game between movies.
Yeah, everyone that didn't get, like, their fair shake in maybe Infinity War got it in this.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot.
Yep. And I just watched Infinity War Saturday night, right before me and my wife saw it Sunday. And, like, her character really grew on me.
Yeah.
Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
And, you know, her attachment to Vision and everything. So when she's just letting him have it with those hex bolts. I'm like, good for you.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
I want to actually see more, because there's like that now Disney Plus series WandaVision, which is terribly named.
The worst title ever.
But I'm kind of interested in see where they take her character.
I've heard rumblings that it might be similar to like the Tom King Vision.
I heard that too, which I'm okay with.
Yeah, that would be great.
Very
different.
Yeah, Vision absent from this movie though.
Yes, that was strange. No one decided to bring him back.
Well, I guess like his death was a quote real death and wasn't a dusting.
Right, but like he's a robot.
I know,
Professor
and that was
Hulk could have fixed him in like 2 seconds.
Or like Shuri or something, because she's like already poking around in there in Wakanda.
Wasn't she snapped?
Oh yeah, you're right. Well, fuck
Professor Hulk, at least. Come on.
At the very
Quit
least.
worrying about yourself, Bruce.
I mean, maybe he doesn't have the dainty enough fingers.
That could be.
He's got these sausages he's trying to do.
He's got like the pencil that he's punching the keypad with. But yeah, on the back of Scarlet Witch, in comes Femme Fatale, Carol Danvers.
Yes.
And just obliterates Thanos' ship, which he's raining down molten lead on right now.
Yeah.
And just like in the proverbial snap of a fingers, the battle has changed again.
Yep.
I love the fact that all of the people that were crying over, like, oh, Captain, she's just going to come in and kick Thanos' ass and that's the end. That is kind of what happened. She comes in, trashes his ship, really turns the tide, beats the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And is only bested by like some quick thinking on Thanos' part.
Right, where he socks her with the Power Stone.
Yeah, which was a good angle. Yep.
I would have actually liked to see like maybe 20 more seconds of like a hand-to-hand with Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Because I would like to see just more prowess out of her. It's almost a shame that she isn't in this movie more.
Yeah, she's not in it a whole lot. Well, like when Black Widow is kind of heading up S.H.I.E.L.D. now, like the new Avenger roster is like her, Rhodey, the Wakandan general.
Yeah,
Rocket,
the Dora Milaje.
And a couple others. And it's like, oh, cool, she made that she made that ranking there. Right. And that's a cool lineup there.
Yes.
I would have liked to see some of their little adventures.
Yeah.
But, she comes back. Thanos gives her a headbutt and doesn't even phase her.
Yeah,
and
she
like kind of smiles at him.
You.
You're like, oh, that's cute. I thought she was just gonna like bust his fingers. It's like, yeah, that would have been good. How are you gonna snap like that?
Yeah.
Put it on the other hand, but then it's a backwards glove. That would be pretty good.
Uncomfortable. I can't even wear socks wrong.
Oh God! Remember our friend Paul wearing his
awful. Just the heel on top of his foot. What are you doing, you idiot?
What a piece of shit. Danvers pulls her weight here and stops him from doing a second snap. Like he is ready to do it, and she's like, "No, let me get in there. Let me just get in there.
Sneak past you."
She's got that Midwestern nice. But also she has a great rallying moment too, where she does get this moment where her and then every other prominent female member of the Marvel Universe stands triumphantly and then charges into battle, which is great. Yeah. This amazing scene.
I was watching it with my wife and she was just like, fuck yes! I was like, awesome.
I imagine a lot of insecure men's testicles just shrank up inside their abdomen at that moment and they couldn't wait to...
Girl power.
Girl power! Girl power! So, all the heroes battling it out.
Yeah.
Giving us the best spectacle we could ever hope for. I could have used more, but I appreciated that they didn't go into like Man of Steel destruction territory where I'm like, oh, okay, let's wind this down.
Yeah, even though this whole battle sequence was 40 minutes.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Jesus, another testament to the fact that this movie flew by.
Yeah, I was shocked when I read that.
No way.
It was 40 minutes from when either when Thanos like destroys the compound onto the end.
That is insane.
Or it's either when the Trinity starts fighting Thanos.
It felt like it was 15.
Yeah, I know. Even 10 minutes at most. I had so much fun with this that it was like, boom.
My only complaint, if we're going to do devil's advocate, was it was just kind of like a nondescript, barren wasteland that they were fighting on. And, I mean, it was the Avengers compound in the middle of nowhere. But, like, the sky was cloudy, it was, like, dusk, it was just, you didn't get a sense of scope, it was just a lot of people fighting on a flat surface.
Yes.
But, like, I don't care. If I'm looking for something to complain about, I guess that's something. But, like, it was fine.
My buddy JT said, it was like the end of Ready Player One, except with characters I cared about.
Very true. Very true. So that brings us into the final endgame.
Mm-hmm.
Tony is able to finagle the gauntlet from Thanos because it is an Iron Man gauntlet that they've constructed this new set of Infinity Stones on.
Yep.
And he does the old... gives him the finger. I thought he totally was. How long he held that glove up there. I'm like, give him the fucking finger, Tony. But no, he
just
goes
has the one
classier.
F-bomb to make it still PG-13.
I'm fucking you. Iron Man, bitch. He does get to utter the famous words from the first Marvel movie.
Yep.
I am Iron Man. And then
boom.
Snaps it. Obliterates all of Thanos and the Thanos squad.
Everyone gets dusted.
Yep. And so does Stark, because as it turns out,
takes a lot out of you.
It does. It's really not a user-friendly tool there.
No.
So he's wrecked by the end of this. Mm-hmm. He's withering, in a slump.
Yeah.
Completely out of it, disoriented.
Yeah.
And all the heroes kind of gather around him. Peter says, like, his goodbyes, and then Pepper kind of comforts him and says, like, you can rest now. Mm-hmm. Which, like, really ate me up. Because earlier, when he's debating whether or not he should even open this Pandora's box of time travel, he's like, I could put a pin on this, throw it at the bottom of the ocean, and we can go to bed. And she's like, but can you rest? Will you be able to rest? Knowing his personality, like, it's always going to be eating at him.
Yep.
And now, like, he's sacrificed everything, and, like, but you did it. Mm-hmm. You saved the universe, Tony Stark.
Yes.
You can rest. Mm-hmm. It felt, like, so sad to me. Mm-hmm. It felt like I've had relatives die in horrible situations of, like, cancer. Everyone has.
Yes.
But it felt like saying your last goodbyes to someone who's, like, on morphine in a bed, and your family's just saying, like, you can go.
Yeah. And, like, at the same like, once again, like, everyone is giving, like, amazing performances. Tony Stark is, like, on his way out. Mm-hmm. Tom Holland, not a dry eye in the house.
Give it all he's got.
Like, he is so good at, like, making everybody just cry.
The most genuine little little whippersnapper you could have picked to be Peter Parker.
And then, regardless of what you think of Gwyneth Paltrow or not, she really drove it home to, like...
Part of me was like... Parker, get out of here! You've known him for like 5 minutes! This is fucking life here! No wonder Tony's there rolling his eyes. He's like, get this kid out of here. But I love the fact that he didn't get this, like, tell my daughter I love... It was this moment where, like, he was fucked. He's not there to give, like, a little quippy comeback or, like, this last parting words of wisdom.
Right.
Like, that took a lot out of him, and he's on his way out. Yep. And they're just telling him, like, it's okay. You did it.
Yeah.
You can die.
Right. And then, immediately following that, you
Smash cut to his
his
will and testament.
Where you get, like, it's his will and testament, and then his funeral is right after, or vice versa. I don't quite remember. But, like, you get, like, the second line I was looking for where, like, everybody is in attendance to this funeral and, like, everybody is there just mourning him, and it's just, like, this shot that goes up all the way up
down
to
the
house.
Iron Man 3 kid.
Yeah, where everyone's like, who?
Is that the kid in the bike?
I mean, I guessed who it was, and I went and Googled it, and I'm like, okay, I was right.
I had no idea. I like Iron Man 3, but I never would have guessed they invited him.
I could only assume, I was like, well, it's got to be one other person.
How'd they even know about him?
I don't know.
But, yeah, what a great send-off. Mm-hmm. Him saying his goodbyes on record to his family and his daughter.
Yeah.
And then that end scene where Happy Hogan is comforting Tony Stark's daughter. Great send-off and bookend to the man who directed the first Iron Man and created the Marvel Universe. Yep. Him getting, like, this last moment with the legacy of Tony Stark.
Yes.
Where he's protecting the Stark name.
Yeah.
It's like, perfect.
Yes.
So good. They checked every box.
Yes, they did. Even because I watched Iron Man just to do, like, a bookend of, like, where it starts and where it began, like, I did that whole thing. They even call back to saying, like, your dad liked cheeseburgers.
Yeah, because when he comes out of the cave, he wants a cheeseburger.
Yeah, cheeseburger first.
Yep. I'm gonna get you all the cheeseburgers you want.
Really great stuff.
Cut to 5 years later, Morgan is obese. Just fueled by cheeseburgers. Happy doesn't know when to quit.
Yeah. It's just like a Chef 2 where he's just cooking her stuff.
Yes. Got more cheeseburgers for you, Morgan.
Oh. Then it jumps a little bit ahead of time. It's an indiscriminate amount, I'm not sure, but now they're having to return all those stones back. Mm-hmm. And the man for the job is Steve Rogers himself.
Who else?
Who else?
America's sweetheart.
I mean, how else are they going to get that hammer back, I suppose?
That's right, yeah. This thing's stuck here.
And so Banner does a countdown. He'll be gone in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. He'll be back in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mm-hmm. He's not back. And it's like, you kind of expected it.
Yep.
And then I think Bucky is like, hey,
check out this old codger on the bench.
Why don't you check this out over here? As soon as it panned to an old man sitting on a bench, I was like, literally, I was a mess. I was like, sad old men always make me cry. I don't know what it is.
Because it's a fate that will befall all of us.
It's a real threat.
Time is the ultimate enemy.
I've seen what my dad's hairline is. It's not good.
Forget Thanos.
Anyway, so they go and Bucky kind of ushers off Sam Wilson over to see Steve Rogers, who now is an old man. Great CG, by the way. Yeah. The aging up effects. But I thought that was really... When he said, like, Sam Wilson asked how it was, and he's like, oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, that's all I've ever wanted for you, man.
And then you see his wedding ring that he has, and he's like, you gonna tell me about her? And he's like, no, I don't think I will. So good. Keeping something for himself.
Yep.
It was a really good dichotomy because you have Tony Stark, who's always lived for himself and gives the ultimate sacrifice there, and Captain America, who's always sacrificing, and he takes a moment for himself.
Yep. Yeah.
What a good trade-off there.
Really good.
So he, this is how I took it. He went back to the 40s, stayed with Peggy, and lived out his entire life like incognito there. So that at that moment, he knew to be on the bench so he could tell them. Yes. Like, I need to be there because old me, young me, future me, past me is going to travel back in time. And they're going to want an explanation, so I'm just going to, like, let them have it now.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a whole unexplored territory of, like, covert Steve Rogers missions if you ever wanted to get Chris Evans back on the pay scale there.
That would be a fun movie.
Where, it's just him, like, he can't, like, make his presence known, but he's not going to sit by and let horrible things happen. Right. So, like, maybe he like, leads an undercover Black Ops team and just combats these threats. Maybe there's some Fantastic Four that he knows about, or a Namor.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Probably not, but
but it's open.
They're at the point now where they could literally do anything now that they've introduced time travel and the multiverse. Anything is it checks out.
Yeah, it does.
Just a quick explanation of like you fucked with the stones, man. Like that's why.
So he passes the torch on to Sam Wilson, which we finally get an answer who is going to get the shield after Captain America.
Kind of a surprise there.
I don't know if I was surprised as much. I was like,
Bucky's a bit of a loose cannon there. Like he's done some bad shit. But, plus, Cap had like those couple years where him and Falcon and Scarlet Witch just did their own thing.
Yeah, that's true.
So they probably built a pretty good relationship during that time that we didn't see.
I took it also as like Cap and Bucky are still pretty tight. Yeah. And he already told Bucky that he's going to do this. Because Bucky ushers Sam over to the bench. He's like, you should probably go and talk to him. Yeah. That's the way I took it anyway. If that's not true, make it true. Because that'll make me feel good.
Yeah. I was reading online, some asshole in the theater, when he handed it to Sam, some dickhead was like, not him! And then like 40 people said, shut the fuck up! And then Thor heads off with the Guardians. Yep. So maybe the third Guardians is as Guardians of the Galaxy.
I hope so.
That would be phenomenal. Yep. Gamora is back in some form, because we've time traveled to bring her back. And Nebula is also alive and kicking. What'd you think of Nebula through this? She's never been a favorite of mine, but they gave her a lot more to do in this.
Mm-hmm.
But I still didn't really care a whole lot about her.
I liked that they gave her the time to really, you know, be a member of this whole like the superhero group.
Yeah,
you know?
She was instrumental in
for sure.
a lot of it.
I felt for her more in this and in Guardians 2 than I ever did for her.
Yeah.
The real, like, plight that she has to go through, even just being associated with Thanos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really thought it was well done in these two movies.
Okay, I'm trying to think of things that we skipped over.
What'd
you think of? Yeah, well, we only have 3 hours to discuss this. What'd you think of the Hawkeye Scarlet Witch trek to get the Soul Stone?
I'm glad they went together. I didn't actually see it playing out that way.
Mm-mm.
In my head, like before the actual, death of Black Widow, I was thinking that like the Soul Stone would almost appear in front of them because they've already lost everything in their life. They've already made they'd have nothing to lose anymore.
Yeah, Hawkeye is definitely sacrificed enough in this.
Yeah, and all the the tidbits of information you get of Black Widow throughout all of these movies, she was pretty much beaten up and experimented on and made sterile and all this kind of stuff throughout her whole life to become this spy, and now she only lives to serve for the most part,
And that's how she took it too. Like Clint, if they can bring his family back, he's got his family. She has nothing.
Yeah.
Everything in her life has pretty much prepared her for this moment, for this sacrifice.
I didn't dislike having to do this whole scene over again from Infinity War, but I would like to have my expectations been subverted a little bit and something different happen.
You weren't on the edge of your seat as they tripped each other and then got stuck in the doorway and then he jumped off and then she tripwired him back, and I felt like that went on a little too long to the point where I'm like, you guys are gonna fuck up this whole plan and you're both gonna fall to your death. Come on! Or someone has to do it.
Or maybe they both jumped or something like that and just I don't know, they just fuck themselves.
Well, yeah, as she leaps over after him, it's he's already on the way down. You are really
you're playing with fire here.
But I was okay with it. I don't have a strong attachment to Black Widow. I thought she was fine in all the movies. Mm-hmm. I'm not too broken up that she's not in anymore, but at the same time, I don't think any of these guys are going to be in a whole lot more. Any of the original crew, they pretty definitively closed the door on the original Avengers lineup.
Yes.
I feel like Hawkeye's retired at this point. Mm-hmm. He's got some explaining to do to his wife and kids about that haircut and tattoo. But Thor, we might get more of in a very different role, like the Ragnarok Thor that everyone's grown to love.
Right.
But RDJ, Cap, all these guys are done.
Yep. Black Widow does have a movie in production right now, so I kind of want to see where that is coming from.
Yeah, and it feels like a prequel would just kind of let the air out of the sails. What is...
A little bit. Unless it's that Budapest mission that they keep talking about.
God. Always with the Budapest.
But yeah,
Turns out it was just a mission where they ate something bad and they both had horrible diarrhea the whole trip.
Just keep bringing up, at least this isn't Budapest. Remember that fucking enchilada that totally fucked us up?
They were on a really turbulent flight and they couldn't get up to use the restroom. They just had to sit there and stew in it. That would be the movie. A 2-hour plane ride from Budapest.
Terrible.
Maybe we'll get another Hulk appearance, I imagine, because the door's open on what could happen with that, other than he's got this wrecked arm now.
Right. But he's got to be the Hulk. He can regenerate himself.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Yeah. That's why I figured when he'd Hulk out, he'd be fine.
Yeah.
And then just tear some shit up, and then never happened. So he just went into the battle with a sling, ah!
He's snapping him with the shoulder strap. What I would have really loved, which would have checked off everything that I couldn't even imagine, is if they go into some alternate timeline or they go so far back in the past that they run into Ed Norton Hulk and Terrence Howard War Machine.
Every single movie leading up to Endgame, I feel is all chapters in a book, and if forgive me if you've heard this before, because I've said it probably to a few different people, but I feel like now the book is closed.
Yeah.
And anything now after is just like a separate book.
It's extra.
Yeah. It's now a supplementary material.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be great. And we're like, yeah, book 2, gonna be just as good as book 1.
Yep.
But I feel like everything now is like just in a cohesive little package that like maybe everything after this, maybe it's not for you. And you can stop here and you'll have this 11-year chunk of movies that just like build up to something great.
This unprecedented achievement of modern filmmaking.
This shouldn't have worked at all.
No.
And it did, and it is confounding me how they made it work.
22 movies ranging from pretty good to like genre-defining amazing.
Yes, yeah.
Not like anything bad.
Right.
Even the worst is like, yeah.
That was fine.
Yeah, yeah. It's insane to think that this is what we got.
Yeah,
They finally got it right, and man, did they... We were gifted with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
You know, who would have ever thought that they could replicate the feeling of the comics in such a way that, like, encapsulates it and adds to it.
Yes.
To the point where, like, fans of the material love it, and they've been waiting their entire lives for this.
Yes.
And then you can also bring in all of these people that for years they were like, comics. Or these young kids that, like, this is their comics now.
Yes. Yeah.
This is their, like, gateway into this. Stuff that me and you started, like, with cartoons and comic books. And now we're, like, thrilled to have this.
Yes.
It's insane.
What an
we don't
age
deserve
we
it.
live
I feel like we don't deserve something this good.
Yeah. It's quite a time to be alive, if I could take a line out of your book.
That's right. I think it's over here somewhere. Yeah, who would have ever thought? Absolutely, the golden age of comic book movie making right now, right here.
Golly.
It just closed. We're done with it now. So with that wrapped up, Marvel's letting it breathe for a bit.
Yes.
Which is great. I really appreciated the fact that they didn't do a tease to anything upcoming. We have the Spider-Man movie coming up, which I'm really, like, kind of confused about how that's all going to fit in. Feels like a weird one to end phase 3 on.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't really count that. You know,
not
it'll
really.
be fun.
If anything, it'd be like a weird epilogue to see like a fallout of everything more that
if it even happens chronologically. Like maybe it happens before Infinity War.
Oh yeah,
who knows? But yeah, I don't know what to expect going forward.
Me neither.
And I'm cool with that. I like that we don't know their like 5-year plan that we've been building to. I'm kind of bummed that we don't have an Avengers to look forward to. When I walked out of the theater, I was like, now what? Like, what do I do with my life now?
I know. What is good is that they have a few legacy characters that they've passed the torch on to. So we could see that. They have now the Fox properties they can play with.
Yeah.
Adding more onto whatever is in their toy box.
They can fully embrace the X-Men and the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me thought it would be kind of cool if, like, Wolverine and the Thing come through some of those portals.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad they didn't. You know, don't shoehorn a new thing in. Like, this is a send-off to what we've spent 11 years on.
Yes.
And I appreciated that, like, there's no after-credits tease to, like, stay tuned for this, you know. We just got the slow hammer of Tony Stark building that arc reactor in the cave.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect ending to this.
Yeah.
And I liked how in the end credits they did a really odd thing where they showed all the characters like signing their names onto their character. I'm like, yeah, because it totally is. Like they encapsulated that character. They made Chris Evans is Captain America.
Yep.
And you don't recast that.
No.
And Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man.
Yep.
And like that's his stamp.
Yep.
And it's done.
Yep.
And we're going forward.
Yep. So all in all, Endgame, pretty great.
Yeah, it was all right.
So, let us know down below what you thought of Endgame. Did you have more criticisms than maybe we did?
Yeah.
I am trying to find some that maybe would balance like my giddy overjoyedness of this movie, but I can't find much.
No.
So let us know down below in the comments what you thought. that would be great. We can keep the conversation going down there. We can also keep the conversation going on our Patreon.
That's right.
Where we're
there 24/7.
You bet we are, Dave. We do a slew of things over there. But until next time, we talk more comics and maybe comic movies.
That's right. Lately it's been a
this
big
month has
spring.
been very heavy.
Yes. God, I'm actually happy we can take a breather now.
I've been Toward the Max Extreme.
And I'm Ghost Hunter Dave.
And we have been Imperius Rex. This is our end game.
Oh, we can rest.
Bye-bye. Oh, we should do. Hold on. Let me do like a one little addendum, like a after credits thing.
Okay. You gonna hammer something?
Yeah. Let me just bash this bottle over my head.
Shit! What did I think was gonna happen?
So did you catch during did you catch during Steve Rogers' little self-help thing that Jim Starlin was in the crowd?
I did. I caught it after.
I really enjoyed that little moment there, and when I did see Jim Starlin, I second guess him, like, is that Jim Starlin?
Uh-huh.
And then I was like, right after the movie, is Jim Starlin? Yes, it was. And I was like, good for Jim Starlin.
Yep.
The creator of Thanos that we kind of dunked on in our Infinity Gauntlet episode. But
oh, man. Luckily they had Gabriel P. backing him up there. Letting us have it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it.
All right, that's all.